then I'm in love.
Welcome to beautiful Gulfstream Park. Welcome to Gulfstream. Today, Ron Nicoletti, along with Acacia Courtney. It is a spectacular day here in South Florida. And what a week last week.
It really was a spectacular week. We did, of course, have it highlighted by the Lamb Home South Holy Bull on Saturday. A really fun day, a very impressive performance from Irish Warcry and all the other stakes that day. But, Ronnie, we have another big weekend coming up to get excited about. We'll have the Grade 1 Gulfstream Park Turf Handicap, the Grade 3 Swanee River, and the Grade 2 Hard Acre Mile.
Yeah, so it continues here. Lots of fun at Gulfstream Park. And guess what? On Sunday, someone was lucky enough to hit the Rainbow Six for over $810,000. And if you're just joining a 20-cent wager, and it's just been so much fun, so it'll start building again today. No carryovers to talk about, so we'll just go through the wagering menu. It starts each and every day when you have 7 runners or more with the rolling super high 5. And, of course, we have 2 pick 5s every day. In case she'll show you both the tickets. The first one coming in race number 1. As I mentioned, they got the Rainbow Six. We got a 10-race card, so it starts in race number 5 this afternoon. And as I mentioned, it ends the day with the final pick 5 of the afternoon.
Lots of good stuff coming up today. We'll take a stab at those tickets, as you said, building up again. But I'm sure that whoever ended up with that Rainbow Six has been having a very good week so far.
Yeah, I would say so. $810,000. I'll try and find out. I don't know how much money they put in to get the ticket, but we've had them hit it for a big money for a $3 ticket or whatever it is, so it's a fun wager. But more about that later on. Let's get to our first race this afternoon. 6 furlongs claimers, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, $6,250. And we are starting today with 7 runners in the first race, so there will be that rolling super high 5. And as we mentioned, there is also the first of 2 pick 5s, and let's look at Acacia's ticket.
All right, well, I did find a single here in the early pick 5, so that helped me keep it a little bit affordable. I just used 2 horses to start off the day, though I would have liked to go a little bit deeper in that open $16,000 or $6,250, excuse me, claimer to start it off. So just 2 horses there, 3 in the second. I'm spreading in the third race, a pretty nice starter optional claimer, and then I'm going to single on third day in the Just One More stake here today for Todd Pletcher. It's a small field, but I thought that might be perhaps the most logical place to single, and then 4 more in the maiden claiming in the fifth, $48.
Well, we're sort of in agreement as we go along, but I used a couple of horses in the fourth race when I put my ticket together this afternoon. So let's go to this first race, and we're going to start it off in here with the number 4 horse, Killing Them Softly. And this one went to the George Navarro barn after the claim. Wheels back at the same level of distance, but I want to show her the reason this horse didn't show its usual early speed last time out. So we're going to go back and look at this race. And just gets number 4 horse that day, just gets shuffled back to last here. And you can see how to check very sharply. And this horse runs best when it's on or near the lead. So got shuffled back at the end, and I think that's basically what cost the horse the race. And then you'll see as it turns for home a little later on, just was wide, and basically the day was over.
It was. I think that she was really compromised at the start, and good to even see that now she's trying to make up some ground there, but really she is so much more effective when she's on or near the front end. And this is actually a claim back by George Navarro. Now, he had her, he was having a lot of success with her this summer at Monmouth, and then she ended up being claimed by Angel Medina. She was the heavy favorite still, and now she's claimed back by George Navarro and gets Luis Saez.
Yeah, and here's the part I wanted to show here. Just, had to come 5 wide, and basically, tried to make a run of it, but it never really came to fruition. So Killing Them Softly, I think a low price on the line today of like 7 to 5, and rightly so. And as you mentioned, a reclaim.
It is, and there is a little bit of other speed primarily next to her with the number 5, Skippy is back, who I used towards the bottom of my ticket. It does look like High Rapid Lady to the rail will sit a stalking trip, but I just think Killing Them Softly is faster than the rest of the horses in here. Now, if there is some early pace, I thought the number 7, She's the Winner, who's cutting back in distance, second off the claim for Aubrey Mirage, might be one to kind of shake things up a little bit. Certainly going to be closing, sat a little bit closer to the pace last time out when stretching out to the mile first off the claim. But for what it's worth, Aubrey Mirage second off the claim, going from route to sprint. There's actually a very small sample size, but he's 2 for 4, so had quite a bit of success, and then a very good ROI, actually even won over $6. So this one might be one at a price to be sitting just behind.
And we always mention to watch these first couple of races on the dirt and on the turf to see how the track might be playing this particular afternoon. The horse you had in third, I put in second. That was Breach of Duty. This one changed barns, went to the Bruno Tesori barn after that claim. Hoping to get away from the gate trouble-free. Got roughed up at the start, finished 6th against Similar. That was her first race since mid-November, so I'm expecting, a positive step forward today, especially with a clean break.
And I think that is the key too. I really think that a little bit off of the freshening might have needed a race there, because she has come from off of the pace before, maybe just kind of knocked off stride a bit last time as well, and wasn't able to recover it so quickly.
And I closed it out with the 2 Forest Pike, and as you mentioned, you had that 5 Skippy. His back's got some speed this afternoon. So, it's all going to be about the trip in there. If they're killing them softly, breaks badly again, it's over.
That's it.
Let's go to race number 2 this afternoon. 6 furlongs, claimers 4 and up, non-winners of 3 in life, or race since August 8th. So this condition claimer, $12,500. One of the horses I had on my ticket that scratched out of here is the number 7, My Johnny Be Good. So we start our first of 2 pick 4s on the afternoon right here in race number 2. And you went with the number 5 horse in here, who I put on my ticket, but at the end, Bucate.
I did, and this one, I know it's a little bit of a step up, but I did have some reservations about a couple of the other horses in here, primarily your top selection in Fast Falcon. I just didn't trust this horse in here today, so I tried to look for alternatives, perhaps at a little bit better price, and landed on the number 5 Bucati, who actually comes out of a very good race. There were 2 next out winners coming out of there. Eclipsado won his last 2 races and has been in very good form. Starship Apollo went on to win his next 2 races and also in good form. That was when notching the non-winners of 2 back in October at Gulfstream Park West. So now does have to go to these condition claimers. So it is a bit of a jump for sure, but off of a break. But Fernando Abreu has been having some really good runners come here. And last time out, it looked like kind of 3 horses wanted the lead. I think this one will be close to the pace today.
Yeah, a lot of guesswork in here, especially with that 2 Fast Falcon, who's taken an immediate drop to the 12.5 level on the main track. He returned from a layoff. He made a solid mid-move in there, and he hung when finishing 5th. He was beaten 3 3/4 lengths, but it was a 33 lifetime claimer going a mile in the 16th. It was on the turf. Mark Cassie, Jose Lescano handling the turn back to 6 furlongs today. So as I mentioned, a lot of guesswork in there. Immediate drop. It's sort of a red flag flying.
It is, and honestly, since that long layoff for this horse was December of 2014 to September of 2016, he just hasn't really run well in his last couple of starts. And I know that they were against much tougher competition, but as you said, it's an immediate drop. Actually, the turf race was fine, as you said, did kind of hang a little bit in there, but I thought even the dirt races prior to that were kind of lackluster, and they were going longer, so he's cutting back in distance too, big time, and he really is never really sprinted. Even before that layoff, when he was running in grade 2, grade 1 company, he was going much longer. I don't know about him sprinting, the drop, it just seems like a lot of changes, and maybe it'll all come together and he'll win today. But.
Yeah, maybe just classes up in this spot, but the one horse that might be the logical horse, now I really like the 70 of My Johnny Be Good, so I'm sort of reworking what I'm saying here, and the one roll on the Navo, I think is probably primed and ready to offer more. Returned from about a 10-month layoff to run second at the same level in distance. Alan Iwinski, Roberto Alvarado Jr. handling. Got a break from that inside post this afternoon, going this a 6 furlong distance.
He does. He kind of stalked along the rail last time as well, so that's probably what he'll try to do today. I thought he was pretty rank last time out off the layoff, watching that race again, but certainly now with another race under his belt at this layoff, and he did take some money last time too.
Well, that is race number 2 and one of the wide open affairs on the afternoon. We're going to go to race number 3 this afternoon. One race before a stake race, and this is a mile turf starter, optional claimer, 4-year-olds and up to the starter for $25,000 less, or they can run for that optional claiming price of $25,000. There is 7 runners in here, and we are in agreement finally, I think, with the number 2 Indian Guide. It's turning back to a mile, dropping a notch on the competition scale after returning from the freshening to finished third. He was beaten half lengths. That was against a little tougher Safi Joseph Jr. Javier Castellano, and this is a two-time winner at the distance.
It is a two-time winner, and he had a tough time in that race last time as well. He did earn a 91 Beyer speed figure for that last race, as he said, against slightly tougher and going a bit longer, going a mile and an eighth. But he tried to go between horses. He had to steady a bit. There was just no room to run, and then he came up along the rail because there was really no room for him to go. So I thought that he had a really tough time, and he still managed to be beaten by just half a length. So that is why I gave him the nod today. I think you definitely have to respect the number 1 Air Bueno, though, too, who is a stakes winner, has been running in good company and has been running well, does have to rebound off of that race in the Claiming Crown last time.
Well, you know, he broke from that wicked tough post 13, and he still managed to finish a respectable 6th in there. You mentioned that was the Claiming Crown Emerald. I like this horse. I mean, do not lead this horse off your trifecta ticket. But I did put the 4 in second cash, a class in cash. It's turning back to this 8 furlong distance after its 2-race win streak ended when he broke from a tough post that day, post 10. Went up, set the pace. He faded to get beat 3 3/4 lengths, but it was going a mile in the 16th in the Claiming Crown Emerald. Jane Sibeli, Jose Lascano, so good collections there. So coming out of that same race, and I thought this one ran well enough to earn a spot on my ticket.
Definitely one to respect in here, and has been running very solidly prior to that, winning the starter allowance at Gulfstream Park West, leading into the Claiming Crown prior to that. Does have that early speed. I think Rizwan, the number 6 in here, has some speed as well, which might set it up even more for our top selection Indian Guide, especially on the cutback. And I threw in Quiet Force, who's definitely cutting back in distance coming out of the 2-mile H. Allen Jerkins.
That's the classic turnback move,
Oh,
as
yeah.
we like to call it. So we here at beautiful Gulfstream Park, we tell you we got excitement all along. We actually got a stake race for you this afternoon, and it comes in race number 4, and it's a 1 mile for 3-year-olds who have never won a sweepstakes. $60,000 is the just one more, but we do have a scratching here of number 4 weight. And here's your single, so take it over.
All right, well, I guess we should start by showing the debut race for third day for Todd Pletcher. This was at Monmouth, and it was on a sloppy track, but I thought it was a pretty solid performance.
Well, here you watch. This horse is coming around, you know, and it looks like what I liked about this performance was just that the course goes by in hand and just draws off. Now you're saying, wait, it was back then, it was on the sloppy track, so there's some ifs and buts about it. Is he going to run that well? But it is Todd Pletcher, and it was just, you could see, in hand cruising to the wire.
It was a very good performance, and this actually turned out to be a very productive race. That was on Haskell Day at Monmouth, so this horse is coming off a layoff. But out of that race, there were 3 next out winners. You did see Cohen's Cat break its maiden next, and then win a non-winners of 2 allowance race, and then go on to try a stake at Delta Downs. We saw Lemonist, who we saw in the Kitten's Joy this past weekend. He broke his maiden by 9 lengths out of that, and Bird's Eye View also switched over to the turf and then ended up finishing 3rd in the Grade 2 with Anticipation and the Grade 3 Bourbon. So keeping company with really good horses in there. And what pushed this horse over the edge for me was I did find a trainer stat on Todd Pletcher that will show in the past 5 years, and we show a lot of stats on Todd Pletcher. But this is a small sample size. It's after 180-plus day layoff, going a route of ground for the first time. And he's 4 for 10, 6 for 10 in the money, and a positive ROI of 282. So he hasn't done this a lot, but when he has, he's had a lot of success with it.
You almost totally sold me on it, but I did go with the number 6 Basha, who's one of 2 multiple winners in the field, but the only participant with previous stakes experience at the distance, albeit a distant second place finish to a really good horse from the Pletcher Barn called Fact Finding. That was in the $75,000 Smooth Air. So I gave this one the call this afternoon. And the reasoning, if third day win, I would not be shocked. But I just thought, that performance was on a sloppy track, coming off a layoff. And I just think that Basha might carve out a nice trip in here this afternoon.
There are definitely some questions about third day, but it is a smaller field, and that's why I felt a little bit more comfortable singling. But Basha does have the experience at this distance, which will be the key for him. I did give him some attention and respect as well. The number 3, Barry Caravan Betts, definitely intrigued me. He went 7/8 last time and won. He's definitely stepping up in class, but you do like to see Luis Saez win. And then I threw on Quinientos, the 5, who has 2-turn experience on the turf, so at least has a little bit of experience in the distance.
Yeah, and getting back to Barry Caravan Betts, just cruised under the wire under a hand ride ride. So, compact field, but a really nice one in here. So we'll see how race number 4 plays out. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, show you my Rainbow Six ticket.
At ExpressBet, we celebrate the champions that make horse racing great. That's why we provide more ways to bet from more places than ever. We've built an entire family of brands to give players more of the rewards they deserve, give bettors the information they need to win, and provide a community for horse bettors. Because the best way to support the champions of horse racing is to champion horse racing. ExpressBet. We are racing.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today. Ron and Keisha, 5th race this afternoon, a 1-mile maiden claiming event. Fillies and mares, 4 and up, $12,500 scratch. The number 5 horse in here, as we mentioned, they nailed the Rainbow Six on Sunday, $810,000. And how many times have I mentioned this? The first day back after hitting it, someone hits it usually again, or it comes real close, and it pays very well. So make sure you jump right back in. Let's show you my ticket, $43.20. And there you see it, 3 deep, and then you'll go to race number 9, and I singled the horse in here, and that is the number 6, Prudhoe Bay, who just got a terrible trip up in Tampa last time out. Wanted to get a single in there, 4 deep in the last part, $43.20, and we'll see how my ticket plays out. And we always mention, too, this is like a template. See how you can put your ticket together in here. So who did you put on top?
Well, I went a totally different way than you did at this race to start off the Rainbow Six. I went to the number 1, Sylvester Yoloi, but this is a tough race to start off the sequence for sure. And all is right in the world when you're 43.20. We know that. So definitely like your ticket, and it is good to have a little bit of coverage. But one of the main reasons I did go with this horse is I think he's got some speed, especially stretching back out to the mile distance today. Off of about a 9-month layoff, went the 6 furlongs last time, and just was kind of wide. I think probably needed the race. And then we'll show a stat on trainer Steve Dwoskin in the past 5 years, second off the layoff in on the dirt, going from sprint to route in maiden claiming. It's a smaller sample size, but he's 2 for 8 and 5 for 8 in the money and an ROI of more than $3. And I was looking at a bunch of stats, and this was one of the only ones I found with a positive ROI, with trainers that have had some sort of success with this kind of move. And I do think on the stretch out, his speed from the rail will really help him.
Well, you're talking about, a stat. It's a limited stat, but it comes under number 3, Beckett, who's dropping to the 12.5 level on the main track. First start since facing better on the turf here last winter. George Navarro, 8 for 20, 40% with a longer than 180-day layoff. Adds blinkers. And guess what? Jose Ortiz in the saddle. I think a horse you got to have on your ticket.
Definitely one to respect in here, and especially, as you said, to start that Rainbow Six. Now, he is coming off a big layoff. He's dropping in class, she is dropping in class, excuse me. So a lot of changes going on in here, but of course you have to respect the barn. It's also her first time on the dirt. Her first 3 races before the layoff were on the turf, so that's why I kind of took a little bit of the wait and see. But as you said, definitely a horse to respect.
Yeah, and you used the 4, which I used, and we both used in section, actually. That's You're My Destiny. He's hoping to find more. Really nice last time out. Dueled for the lead, finished second at the same level. This is a pretty good performance.
A very good performance, and really, I guess, didn't like the sloppy track at all 2 starts back, because it was a world of difference in that next race last time out. Finished a good second behind Motions First, who was kind of a long-time maiden trying to get to the win there, and that was finally the day. But I thought You're My Destiny ran a pretty good race in there, and warrants a spot in the exacta.
Well, my theory was, if you like You're My Destiny, you got to use the 9 Vintners Specialist, renewing the rival with that horse after dueling early before fading to finish 3rd behind her. She was the even money favorite that afternoon. Ronnie Spatz, Tyler Gaffleone. So it's a rematch between those 2. So I went there. I had the 1 on my ticket. I didn't go that deep for all the reasons you mentioned, but we're basically in agreement, except for the 2 horse, and that's Philly Billy, who I did not use.
Well, just second-time starter, stretching out out in distance. Now, of course, this is a horse that you have to be a little bit hesitant with, as she was purchased for $40,000 and debuted at the maiden 12-5 level as a 4-year-old, but she's got a race under her belt now for trainer Dave Brady.
And once again, scratch the 5 in that, and we'll go to race number 6 this afternoon. This is a 6-furlong maiden claiming event for 3-year-olds, $12,500. Scratch the number 6 in here, Alarcon, and we have our final pick 5 of the afternoon, and you have your ticket to show.
All right, we'll give a look at my ticket. No singles in the late pick 5, but I still tried to keep it affordable at $36 today. Now, I did want to use 3 horses in here, as I think this is a pretty tough maiden 12-5 race. You never really know sometimes what's going to happen in here. I'm using 2 horses with Flying Dude and Stay Safe Kitten in the 7th race, 2 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th as well. I did use the horse that you singled in Prudhoe Bay. Also backed myself up with Dreaming of Nino, who's been in very good form lately. And then 3 deep in the last, $36.
Yeah, that's a nice affordable ticket. I said it in the tag.
Affordable
ticket. And here, 6 furlongs maiden claiming 3-year-olds, 12,000. Every once in a while, the Italian just comes out.
You can't stop it.
I did start it off with the one in here, Rosebud's High, who's stretching out to 3/4 of a mile after rallying to finish second best against this familiar opposition, going 5.5 furlongs. And you are 100% right. This is a wide open affair and tough to really figure out. We basically used the 2 horses that figure in here. I mean, the one on my ticket, I just thought it was the best of the horses in the field.
It very well might be in here, but he's 0 for 11, Rosebud's High, and I've tried to get him home a couple times in his past few races, and I just knew looking at this race immediately, I didn't want any part of Rosebud's High on top. So I went to a horse that's dropping in class, and that's the number 2, Nuclear Fusion. It is a very big drop in class from the maiden 50 to the maiden 12-5 level, but this one just might have the class. He's shown a lot of ability running in special weight company at Presque Isle earlier on in the summer of 2016, finishing in the money several times, also adding the blinkers back on after taking them off last time when moving to the dirt in the barn of Rashawn Creaky. Also seems to be working well, so I think this one will be the main speed today.
Main speed today, and I was shocked to see him 2-1 on the morning line. I didn't even use the horse, and I mean, I used him in 4th, but when I saw the morning line, I thought
it was a guess,
Yeah, I thought it was a sort of a guess on my part. Now, the other horse that we both used on a ticket, probably the only one we're sort of in agreement here, is the Herr Drosselmeyer. This one is dropping to the 12th level in the first start since threatened to break his maiden against Tuffy here last summer. So with another guess here, Dane Kabisky has the gelding training well on both dirt and turf up at Palm Meadows.
It looks like he's really sharpening him up for this return. He'll probably show some speed from the outside, too. I'm just hoping with the draw that Nuclear Fusion will kind of have the edge on him and maybe just be a little bit faster and a little bit classier. But he's taking a slight drop in class, too. And he has been working sharply, as you said. But it's been a little bit more than 6 months since he's run. So, of course, some question marks there, too. But definitely, I think, a horse that you'll want to use in the exacta trifecta.
And just wanted to make a point here. We were talking about this the other day, that a lot of people say, how come this horse is working on the turf at Palm Meadows and on the dirt and everything like that? They have the ability or the luxury to work on either surface there, and some days they want to try horses on the turf. It's not like here where you can only run on the turf 1 day a week, or if it's state company. So a lot of people ask me that question. It's just that they have the ability to do that.
And the Palm Meadows turf course at the training facility is really high quality, and I've heard very good for maidens too as far as conditioning and fitness. So definitely good to see those sharp works for the return for Herr Drosselmeyer.
Yeah, I closed it out with the 3. Tom Liz, and it was turning back after chasing the pace. 4th at a mile last time out. Wide open affair. If you could hit that all button, you might want to
That's the place to do it.
Race number 7 this afternoon, which starts our final pick 4 of the afternoon. 1 mile on the turf. These are claimers, fillies, 3-year-olds, $25,000, 8 runners in the field, no scratches or jockey changes. Number 4, Stay Safe Kitten, should be ready to score. Followed that really nice maiden victory at the distance, comes back, runs second against this level of competition also going a mile last time out.
I think that was a good setup for this horse in her first start against winners last time. I would have liked to see a bit more from her in the stretch. It was perhaps a little bit lackluster at the end, but Valedictorian, the winner, was a surprise winner that day, just at a big price as well. And I think the presence of Jose Ortiz today, this horse will definitely take some money, but I do think that it's the logical one in this field.
You used the 2 and second. Flying Dude is making her first starts and showing a fondness for the turf. She rallied to break a maiden, going 7.5 across town.
She did. She hasn't run since November, but that was her first start on the turf, so of course it's a little bit of guesswork. Victor Barbosa Jr. does have 2 in here, so I opt for the number 2 Flying
Now,
Dude.
a horse I did not use on my ticket was the 3 Little Shade.
And Little Shade definitely has to rebound after that race last time out, but does have apprentice Carlos Hernandez in the saddle today, which I do think might help her to show a bit more speed that she used to show. She didn't show any speed last time, and I think that she's much more effective when she's closer to the front end.
And the horse that you have in fourth, I actually liked a little closer up on my ticket, is the 5 Patrona's, eligible to show more after recovering. She had a slow start. She rallied 5 wide. She finished 5th behind the horse that we both put on top, Stay Safe Kitten, last time out. Having a Negrete, George Ruiz handling the rematch. I just think this horse has some upside. Now, maybe not for the win, but I think this one could be somewhere on the ticket.
She's tried Stakes Company, even running in the Ginger Brew 2 starts back, where I think she was totally outclassed, but perhaps with a better break, maybe sitting a little bit closer today if Jorge Ruiz is a bit more aggressive with her.
Let's go to race number 8, 5 furlongs on the turf. Claimers, fillies, and mares, 4 and up. Non-winners of 2 in life, $16,000, and you went with the number 7, Lucent Lady, and it killed me to put the 2 Indominus on top, but I did it. I just thought it was a logical choice. But tell us about Lucent Lady first.
Well, Indominus very well might be, but her last 4 races were second place finishes, and that's just kind of why I had to take another little bit of the wait and see with her. Does she finish second again today? Does she take that next step forward? So I went with the class dropper in Lucent Lady, who's also going back from the turf. Now, her only 2 turf starts were in special weight company, so of course perhaps tougher competition than what she'll be facing today. She did break her maiden on the dirt in maiden claiming, but as I said, she actually had stepped up both times to try special weight on the turf, so they definitely had faith in her on the turf. Now she's going back and dropping in class as well, but we'll show a trainer stat on Ralph Nix in the past 5 years, which it did make me a little bit hesitant too. Again, it's a small sample size going from dirt to turf in maiden claiming and sprints. It's just 2 for 9, 3 for 9 in the money, but it is a positive ROI, and I just thought this one might be the logical one given the faith that they had in her in those special weight races on the turf.
Yeah, I mean, the drop down, the surface switch for Lucent Lady, absolutely must use her on the ticket. Now, you mentioned the 2 Indominus, been knocking on the door in those consecutive races at this level and distance. It's an obvious choice, unless that, that penchant for finishing second had you, afraid to put her on top. But I think you got to use it because there's going to be a day when this horse breaks through, and you don't want to get beat on your ticket with a horse like Indominus.
No, you definitely want to use her protectively in here, and she's run well on the dirt and on the turf in her last couple of races. She was at this level and distance last time, as you mentioned, and just a solid second place runner, so we'll see if she can break through today.
And the 1-6 tons of fun as debuts locally, showed some speed and weakened late in the pair. 5.5 turf sprints at Laurel. They used that second finish line up there. The fact that she's 1 for 26 in the win column makes her look better on that bottom part of the ticket.
Absolutely. Maybe she's one to use in those exactas or trifectas even. And Dale Capuano is 0 for 15 this meet so far. So definitely one to respect. Maybe this will be the breakout day for all of them too. But 1 for 26 I think is a little bit of a cause for pause.
Well, race 9 today, 6 furlongs, allowance optional claim is state-bred 4-year-olds and up with the option and claiming price of $12.5. We have 1 jockey change on the 2, make the runner Jorge Ruiz. And as you saw my ticket earlier, this is my single, the number 6, Prudhoe Bay. And I want to go back and show you this horse's performance at the start. And I think this was key in here. And you're going to see this day she is the number 1 horse in here. Just doesn't get out. It's got a steady back. Okay, so now the horse has got to carve out a trip from behind. And I just thought that this horse, here's the part that I liked about it. You see this horse turning for home, the number 1, just makes a big, wide, sweeping mood. There you see it, and only gets beat a neck in this race. So I just thought that with that performance, had to make up all that ground, closed well, local return. I thought it was very game last time out. She broke last. They made that 6-wide move. And as I said, and she got beat by a repeat winner. So I thought that was a good performance. That's why I'm singling it right there. And just got nailed at the wire by that horse, Plenty Elusive, as I said. And that was a 16 optional claimer up there in the Oldsmar.
And as you said, Plenty Elusive did come back to win next time out, and he won an open company by 6 lengths with an 82 Beyer speed figure in the next race. So definitely, I think keeping good company. You could see even in that race, it looked like Plenty Elusive just might have been a physically bigger horse too. But I think that Prudhoe Bay is definitely one to respect. Like to see Luis Saez in the saddle as well. Now, Dreaming of Nino was a horse that we both used in second, and this horse was so impressive last time out, first off the claim for Saffie Joseph Jr., but we will show a trainer stat on Saffie in the past 5 years with winners last time out in dirt sprint. Now, he is just 11% win. It's 51% of the time in the money and a 42-cent ROI. So I think that this stat maybe even backs up a little bit more how good this horse does look, Prudhoe Bay, as a potential single.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. And we both closed it out with the number 4, Social Roy. 42 cents? That's a low one.
Yes.
So really back at the same level of distance. Surrendered that late lead to finish third in front of a trio of next out winners. So if you're a key race aficionado, number 4, Social Roy, is a horse you have to have somewhere on your ticket. I single Prudhoe Bay, but this one frightens me.
Yes, definitely. And he looks like to be one to press the pace in here when there does look to be quite a bit of other speed in here. So he might take the perfect stalking trip.
Well, 10-race card on Wednesday afternoon. So let's talk about the final race. It's a mile and a 16th on the turf. Maiden claiming fillies, 3-year-olds, $25,000. Clean slate in here. And we both started it off with the number 6, Prado Vision, who's turning back to a mile and a 16th after shipping it from Churchill to finish a 4-wide third against similar quality, going 9 furlongs last time out. We've been talking about how well the combo of trainer Dale Romans and jockey Corey Lannery. That's the reason I put it on top.
Definitely, I think, a worthy spot to be on top, especially in here. Now, second time at this maiden 25 claiming level. And last time out, this horse actually had a sneaky treble trick. Was a little bit slow out of the gate, breaking from the rail last time out. And Corey Lannery just kind of had a hold on her, trying to get her to settle. She wouldn't switch leads for a while. She never really looked like she really settled in that race. And she kind of had no room and had to go out wide. And she did switch leads. She showed some late run, and I think she's a comment that she was a really big, nicely built filly. So I think now second time off that bit of a layoff too, and at this level, she definitely, I think, is the horse to beat.
I used the number 9, Don't Talk Back, in second. This one's stretching out to mile and a 16. I just want to show you this horse's stretch run. Came into the stretch pretty wide, and I thought ran pretty well. And I just want to go back and backtrack and show you this horse against similar quality. And it was going 7.5 furlongs, and I think she had to come into that traction, number 8 that afternoon. And just off that performance, just kept coming, and I thought it was very good, and thus putting this one on my ticket. There you see her. Came into the stretch 4 wide, and I thought she was going to win it all along in Juan Arias. Luis Saez handling the outside post this afternoon. So I'm thinking Luis Saez, the leading rider here, got a nice outside stalking post today. He's going to run well.
And this horse, I think, will definitely be used from the outside to show some early interest like she has in previous races. And she definitely seemed to wake up quite a bit last time out when dropping from the $50,000 to the $25,000 level. Another horse that's taking a class drop that you didn't use is the number 1, Soaring Now, for Eddie Keneally. And we'll show a quick stat on Eddie Keneally. In the past 5 years, first time on the turf, going from maiden special weight to maiden claiming. It seemed to be showing a lot of small sample sizes today, but he is 2 for 9, 5 for 9 in the money, and a positive ROI of 218. This one also gets the blinkers on, and as I said, first time turf. She's by Tiz now. She's half to a stakes winner named Tate's Landing, who was a 3-time turf winner as well. So a lot of changes in here, but Javier Castellano climbs aboard too.
Yeah, I mean, she's the morning line favorite, Javier Castellano. I didn't use her. What am I thinking? We'll see how that works out. That's how we see the Wednesday card. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It always is.
We'll be back in a few minutes.